Time now for Countywide, a special presentation of Yavapai Broadcasting News. Join News Director Paul David and News Editor Philip Catalfamo as they talk with our community's leaders, newsmakers, and people in the know. You'll hear about the hot topics in Yavapai County that affect all our lives. And now here's today's Countywide.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Countywide. I'm your host, Philip Catalfamo. I'd like to thank you for joining me. On today's show, we are talking about wildland fire season, and we are joined by Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda. On today's show, we'll be covering a lot with Captain Miranda of Sedona Fire. We'll be talking a lot about just wildfire preparation. We've already had some instances already regarding just some wildfire activity. Summit Fire up in Flagstaff, they responded to a wildfire not too long ago. Sedona Fire also had a wildland assignment, so we figured now would be the best time to start talking about our wildfire prevention and making sure that all of you wonderful people listening and watching at home are prepared for the wildfire season and are, just make sure that, you're doing everything correctly so that we can reduce all the wildfires here up in northern Arizona. Again, we are joined by Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda. Todd, first and foremost, welcome onto the show. Thank you very much for taking the time. I know 2020 was a bit of a nightmare in terms of the wildfire season. 2021, obviously any kind of wildfires are bad, but I'm just curious, in your opinion, how did the fire season go last year?
Morning, Phil. Thanks for having me on today. Yeah, this is an important topic for us. We're pretty much always in fire season here in Sedona. We had several large fires in Arizona last year. Telegraph, Raphael, the Backbone Fire down by Payson. We did receive, limited precip this year, but it was just enough to trigger that new growth of the grasses and the smaller diameter fuels. And so we are preparing for another busy season. And yes, we're coming off two very busy back-to-back years, and not a lot of respite for us in the future.
And my heart really goes out to a lot of our fire departments here. I mean, it's already tough dealing with the normal day-to-day operations when it comes to just a normal fire station and having to add on a tough wildfire season. Hopefully it won't be as bad, but I know early on here, Todd, everybody really emphasizes creating defensible space around their homes. When should people start doing that? And we'll start there. When should people start creating that defensible space?
In a perfect world, this is something they should be always doing. It's something they should be keeping up with on a monthly basis. It's just part of their normal home upkeep. After the spring bloom and things like that, a lot of the fine vegetation comes up quickly, and then we'll see a rebound again after the monsoon season. So this is a perpetual thing. It's unfortunately not like just throwing a new roof on a house and letting it sit for 30 years. This is something that needs to be addressed every year, every month, to maintain that defensible space. And a lot of people think that wildfires, like, you're going to see this giant flaming front that's going to catch your entire house on fire. It's going to be this wall of fire. And while that is, a possibility in certain fuel models, the big driver of home ignitions is that ember cast. So it's hundreds of yards, quarter mile or more away from the main fire front that's throwing these little embers that land in decks, wood piles, those fine grasses that tend to build up, patio furniture, all these things that we surround ourselves with to make ourselves comfortable now become a point of ignition. So it's a continual process. And FireWise is the national program that a lot of folks kind of key into to help them kind of develop these programs for their homes. There's just a tremendous amount of information out there on that website to give homeowners the tools to make their homes as fire safe as possible.
And you mentioned a few examples of just creating defensible space. What more specifically should people be looking out for? I know that gutters are a big thing, trying to get all those dry leaves out of the gutters and from around your home. Anything else specifically that you just kind of want to throw out there?
So, a lot of people have this perception that, the fire department wants to come in and create defensible space. The Forest Service wants to do this, and they want to just moonscape my front yard. And one of the big challenges we get from folks is this resistance to modifying the fuels around their home. They want the privacy that the larger trees and shrubs provide. And we don't want to turn your front yard into a moonscape. We're not looking for rock front yards for everybody and asphalt and pavement. But it's very selective. It's strategically thinning, ladder fuels that allow, a fire that starts in the grass to travel up into their junipers and their pine trees and things like that. So we want to be selective, and basically what we tell people is, imagine zones, concentric circles, bullseyes with your house in the middle. You start it, close in, and you build out. And so by selectively thinning those fuels, and especially maintaining that first 10 to 15 feet around the home, that will really help a lot. Once again, the ember cast may not be the prime driver of your home catching on fire. So like you talked about, making sure your gutters are clear if you have, vegetation that's growing over your roof, and stuff just builds up over time anyway. So cleaning those gutters out, making sure your eaves are in good working order, that your soffits are all screened and covered, that, underneath decks, there's not a lot of fine debris that builds up over time. It's really small things that can add up to making homes much more resistant to wildland fires. And we see these pictures coming out of Colorado, out of California, Oregon, Washington. We lost homes on the Telegraph fire this year. Mm-hmm. And people are always shocked when there'll be this one house that was standing in the middle of a completely destroyed neighborhood. And sometimes it's luck of the draw, but, we'd like to say that maybe that homeowner paid better attention to what his home, his vegetation upkeep looked like. And that made all the difference in the world.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, Todd, conditions are very dry right now, and we're kind of in a transition to seasons right now where we're kind of coming out of the cooler weather, going into the warmer weather, which brings a lot more other issues, of course. And you're right, the strategic thinning and creating that defensible space, like you said, to sort of prevent those disastrous situations where a house just goes up after a small, just a small ember or something like that, just because it kept catching on to all that dry grass and brush and everything that's around your homes. But real quick, Todd, I want to get into burn permits in the next segment. But just real quick, I wanted to mention at the top of the show the Sedona cleanup days. You had mentioned that those are going to be happening again. I know that's a place where people can dispose of a lot of their defensible, a lot of the stuff that is around that we're talking about, a lot of that clutter. That is a place to dispose of it. We'll get into burn permits when we come back from break. But Todd, just real quick, Sedona cleanup days, when and where might they be happening this year?
So we're working on dates right now. It'll be the last weekends in April is what our plan is. And there'll be two weekends, 2 days, and on each of those weekends. And we're going to do one in the village and one in Uptown to kind of encourage people to not have to drive as much. And we're trying to slide that into the sweet spot before we get too busy with tourists and too hot that people don't want to go out and do the work. So we kind of settled on the end of April to make that happen. And what we're taking is any normal yard debris, stuff you're cutting off trees, grass, pine needles, those types of things. You just bag them up as best you can, or bring us what you got. We'll have large roll-off dumpsters. We'll have firefighters there that'll help you unload it, get it into the dumpsters, smash it down so we can be efficient with that. And we'll take it to one of the slash disposal sites.
And if you'd like more information about when those dates and where those locations might be posted, sedonafire.org is a great place to visit. You can also give them a call, 928-282-6800. We are joined by Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda, and when we come back, we'll talk about burn permits and why they're very important, especially this time of the year. Stay with us. We'll be right back right here on Countywide.
Need a ride to work in Sedona? Hop on the new Verde Shuttle at the Cottonwood Library and ride to all the major employers in Sedona for just $2. It's just that easy. Looking to get back to work? Sedona has jobs and the Verde Shuttle gets you there every 45 minutes. It's just that easy. Working late? The Verde Shuttle runs until 10:30 and offers a free after-hours shuttle in Cottonwood. It's just that easy. Check out verdeshuttle.com for details or ask Google Maps for transit directions. It's just that easy.
Award-winning Soundbites Grill is an entertainment restaurant located in Uptown Sedona at the Hyatt Pinion Point Resort. Open for lunch and dinner, featuring fresh fish, all-natural hand-cut beef, even a full vegan menu. Family friendly, open 11:30 to 9. Late dining on Friday and Saturday. Soundbites Grill has some of the best views of the Sedona Red Rocks. Offers world-class entertainment, food, fun, and music.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
Terrifying job. Snake handler, take one.
James, this is a really terrifying job. Given the hazards, why do you do it?
I've been fascinated by reptiles since I was a child.
Tell me about your little friend there.
So this is Bear Hug. He's a Burmese python. We have him here at the Phoenix Zoo.
It kind of makes my skin crawl. Is there anything that rattles you?
Yeah, distracted drivers terrify me.
I want to welcome you back to Countywide. On today's show, we are talking about wildfire season preparation, and we are joined by Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda. If you want any more information about Sedona Fire, sedonafire.org is the place to go. They will post the Sedona cleanup days there or on their Facebook page. You can also find them on Facebook. You can also give them a call, 928-282-6800. And as usual, I do want to remind everyone, in an emergency, please call 911. In the first segment, we talked about defensible space and disposing of all of that brush and debris and all that junk that you don't need. So Todd, I want to ask you, burn permits. I know that's a way to dispose of those materials properly, but of course there comes a lot of rules with burn permits. So Todd, I just wanted to ask, how important is it to get those burn permits?
So for us, it's vitally important. One, it allows people to know when they can burn. So we have burn seasons, and those burn seasons are, they'll start here March 1st, so they'll run to May 31st. So that's the next season that's coming up. And part of those burn permits are part of it has to do with the AEDQ, the Environmental Quality Department run through the state of Arizona. The smoke does impact residents around us, and we want to be very sensitive to that so that we're not impacting people's lungs in a negative way. So we pick those months because we generally have good ventilation, good circulation. And also we're on those shoulder seasons where we're not going to see, something escape quite as easily. So the burn permit plan is transitioning. It's going all online. So there is a link you can get to through our website, sedonafire.org. If you go to the fire prevention tab and then drop down, it'll say burn permits. And so there's an application you fill out online. You can email that directly in, and they'll issue a burn permit number. And then before you start your actual ignitions, you need to just call in and activate that burn permit, because that tells the dispatchers, at 123 Main Street, we know we have a burn permit that's been activated there. So, if a neighbor is concerned and calls 911, alarm can basically let them know. We do have a burn permit active in that area, and if they still feel concerned, of course, we're going to still dispatch an engine to make sure everything is going well there. If you don't have a burn permit and that happens, we're going to show up and ask you to put it out. That's how we track things. It's an important public safety measure to make sure that people have been educated on the rules and the regulations. There's very specific sizes and times, and some days the burn permits may not be issued due to, it might be in that burn period window, but that day is just not a good day. Maybe it's low relative humidities or high winds or something like that. So it just really helps us maintain a community-wide safety net so that folks know how to burn properly and appropriately.
I mean, there was a transition, I believe you mentioned it, to the online system that's kind of more recent here. I just want to ask, how much is that going to benefit you and the department just now that all of that paperwork has transitioned to online?
What it saves is mostly our administrative side, so those folks aren't trying to get people to understand the process. It's a much more streamlined, easy to use process that people can do from their home. They don't have to come in and actually, especially with COVID right now, You can do it all online. You don't have to come into the front office and talk to anybody.
Okay, so let's say I've got my burn permit. It's a burn day. We're all good to go. What do I specifically need, or what should I have nearby before I start burning anything?
So you need to have your pile built fairly tight, fairly close, nothing overhead, preferably in an area that, you've either cleared the ground to where the fire can't creep out of it. You should have, some sort of hand tool, a rake, shovel, and then hopefully a garden hose or something like that, just to make sure that it doesn't get away from you. And one thing I'll say is, if you do everything right, you follow the burn permit rules, you did it on the right day, you did everything right, stuff can still go bad. If at any point you're doing a burn and you don't like how it looks, call us. You're not going to get in trouble. You did everything right. Call us. We'll come help you take care of it. We've had instances where people have started burn piles. They thought they could manage it. It was getting away from them, and they waited to the last minute, and homes were threatened. So if at any point things aren't going well, give us a ring and we'll show up and we'll help you out.
And if you do want to give them a call, again, 928-282-6800 is the phone number for Sedona Fire, or just dial 911. That also is definitely something you should do in an emergency, especially when it comes to getting burns out of control. I mean, if I do, like you'd said, Todd, if I've done everything correctly and a burn really does get out of control, I mean, where are the ramifications of that, even if I've gotten a burn permit and I've gotten clearance?
At that point, if it becomes a reckless issue or something wasn't right, our fire investigator would show up and ask some basic questions. But, you are literally playing with fire here. So we want to make sure that you're doing everything correctly. So if you have questions about how to implement a burn, that's something you can reach out to our community risk reduction office. And we have FireWise assessors. We have home ignition specialists. We have, my fire marshal will be here today probably doing this, but she's down in southern Arizona doing a home ignition course right now with several of her other folks. So if you're not sure, give us a call. We'll come help you, guide you through that process. But if it does get out of control and you started it, you are probably going to be held liable, and law enforcement can get involved at that point. So it is serious business. We want to encourage people to do it because it does help reduce risk overall, but it's important that we do it correctly.
I also want to throw out there, I mean, if you are in a situation where you did not go through the proper process and you do have a fire that starts to get out of control, just call 911 regardless, because I'm sure collateral damage is a lot less. It's better to not have collateral damage than to just have a small fine for an illegal burn that didn't get out of hand. So again, 928-282-6800 is the phone number for Sedona Fire. Again, call 911 in any kind of emergency. So Todd, I know conditions are a little dry on the forest right now. We're going to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll talk more about conditions on the forest, illegal camping, some of those campfire information, things for people to think about as we get closer to the start of spring and move our way out of fall. Again, we are speaking with Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda. We'll be talking about campfires here on Countywide. When we come back, don't go anywhere.
Looking for a ride to Sedona? Hop on the new Verde Shuttle at the Cottonwood Library and go everywhere you want to go in West Sedona, uptown, and south to Poco Diablo Resort. It's just that easy. Looking for a better way to commute between Cottonwood and Sedona? The Verde Shuttle buses are brand new. A cool, clean, comfortable ride for only $2 each way or $3 for an all-day pass. It's just that easy. Check out details at verdeshuttle.com or ask Google Maps for transit directions. It's just that easy.
Do you remember our first group photo? This is it. Smiles all around, even though we were all nervous.
Who could have imagined that our first weekend together would soon turn into a lifetime of memories?
You're an amazing young man. Your brothers and sisters really look up to you. They're a big brother.
It's so cool to watch the adult that you've become, and you really have done as much for us as you think we've done for you.
You know, it took 20 years, and I got my third child, who was 17 at the time.
There's so many rewards in life. You coming into our home was one of the greatest rewards we could have ever had.
I ain't never felt so much love before in my life.
The mouth is the gateway to the digestive system. Studies indicate a correlation between oral health and full body health. Regular cleanings and checkups can help protect you. New patients are welcome at Arizona Smile Designers in Cottonwood. There's a full smile worth of services all offered under one roof. Whitening and cosmetic to implants and smile reconstruction. Find out more or request an appointment online at azsmiledesigners.com.
I want to welcome you back here to Countywide. On today's show, we are talking with Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda about some wildfire preparation for everyone to start considering creating defensible space around your homes, making sure you get a burn permit. Todd, we're still in I'm calling it the camping season. We're not necessarily in the summer season yet, so there are still some people out there camping. And also with camping, there's another kind of side issue that pops up with that, which is drones. And drones are always a problem during wildfire season because everyone wants that really cool drone shot of the fires, but in reality, please don't do that. So Todd, we've got a couple minutes here real quick. How's camping going on the forest? And also, why are drones a problem right now, and why people should pay attention to what they're doing with that?
So Sedona is an international destination. It's beautiful. People want to come here and see it, and you should. It's beautiful. So we definitely appreciate our visitors that come here to do that. That being said, we're in the high desert here, and there's not a lot of wood generally. It's not like you're dealing with a large pine forest. So campfires are nice, especially on our cold desert nights, but restrictions, that's a thing that comes up every year. We'll probably start restrictions at some point. I'm 100% sure of that, unless by some miracle the floodgates open. But, we want to make sure people if you're in an area, make sure that it's an area where you can even have a campfire. The Forest Service is doing a good job. They're working on some travel management plans. And so, pay attention to where you are. The Coconino National Forest website is a tremendous trove of information on where to go, what you can and can't do, and campfire rules and regulations. Campfires are just one part of it, though. We see a lot of UTV usages. People are boondocking now. They're going back into the far reaches, kind of traveling off trail. Where you park matters. Those hot catalytic converters, these fine desert grasses, that's a serious ignition hazard. So the Forest Service has pretty strict policies about staying on trail. So we ask folks, come, enjoy, visit, but please do your recreation safely and follow all the rules and regulations that you run across.
Again, Todd, I want to thank you very much for coming on the show today. Again, Sedona Fire Captain Todd Miranda. Sir, thank you very much for what you do and coming on the program.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Again, SedonaFire.org is the website to check out. The Sedona Cleanup Days are coming up. Right now, they're looking at the last weekend of April in the village of Oak Creek and in Uptown. But seriously, check out SedonaFire.org for more recent updates regarding that. 928-282-6800 is their phone number. And again, dial 911 in any kind of emergency. And check out Sedona Fire on Facebook. I'm sure they'll post all those dates as well. That is this episode of Countywide. I'm Philip Catalfamo, wishing you a great rest of your week, and we'll see you again next time.